what jumped out at me as I read Matthew 19 and 1 Corinthians 3, 1 Peter 1, was the call in both Matthew and Peter not to forget what we have waiting for us in heaven, what Jesus' death has brought us in light of as an eternal future. In Matthew, it's in the context of the disciples asking whether it's going to be worth it, them having given up, family and housing and whatever they gave up on earth to follow Jesus. In Peter, it's in the context of Peter reminding us that we have a priceless treasure, that will be much, and a call to persevere, in trials, and in holiness, here on earth. The day-to-day grind here on earth, the immediate pleasure of not living a holy life, perhaps, the lack of immediate reward sometimes in serving God can get us bogged down and focused on the challenges of being here. And both of these passages remind us that we have amazing future, a treasure in heaven awaiting us, that Jesus says 100 times more in return than what we've given here. Peter says it's priceless, a treasure that will never be destroyed in heaven. Yeah, and living day to day with that hope puts a whole new perspective on it. Peter takes it a bit further and reminds us, and this is a huge reminder for me, that the call is to prepare our mind to live holy lives because of this. That not to give up doing good, not to give up living that holy life. The holy life is what we're called to. It's our part of our vocation, our mandate, our goal, our purpose here on earth is to reflect God by living that life that is a reflection of His characteristics in us. We'll never do it perfectly, but Peter reminds us that in light of that future we should be living that life today. It's possible because Christ conquered sin on the cross, and that's that same death on the cross that gives us that eternal hope. One last thought through all of this, it reminds me of really one of my favorite passages, which is Hebrews 11, sometimes called the Hall of Faith. Really, if you look at that in context, if you go back to Hebrews 10, the context there is the context to persevere in a life of holiness, of a life where we put sin aside. And so that's the context. Goes into Hebrews 11 that says, look at all these people. They didn't necessarily see on earth the benefit of them doing this. Their eyes were fixed really on the future, and God, is calling them out as, having extreme faith for what they did. And then that takes us to Hebrews 12, where it starts, we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses that he's just talked about. So throw off everything that hinders and the sin that easily entangles, and then let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. And this is, I think, the key part, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. As we go through struggles here on earth, if we lift our eyes up and look at our future, look at Jesus who's there waiting for us, the treasure we have in heaven, that puts everything in perspective for me here, and hopefully for all of us. That reminds me of an old song that just came to mind, and I was thinking about this, and just to close off, I'm just going to quote the chorus. It says, "It will be worth it all when we see Jesus. Life's trials will seem so small when we see Christ. One glimpse of His dear face, all sorrow will erase. So bravely run the race till we see Christ." So I'll just leave you with that thought.